don't want to die.
What would you do if you found a pregnant mermaid tied to a tree in the bush begging you to save her? Run, pray, or risk your life to help her? This is what happened to Amara. Amara had never been the kind of woman who believed in miracles. Life had taught her too many hard lessons, too much disappointment, too much struggle. After her husband died, she became both mother and father to her 2 children, and the world didn't pause to pity her. Every day she woke before the sun, tied her faded wrapper around her waist, and stepped into the quiet morning with the same prayer on her lips. Lord, give me strength to survive today. Her small mud hut was already falling apart. The roof leaked each rainy season, and sometimes the only food her children ate came from neighbors who happened to cook extra. Still, Amara never stopped moving. If she sat down too long, her thoughts would drown her. One particular morning, before the sun even came out properly, Amara woke up and lay on the mat for a short moment, listening to her children breathing in their sleep. Her son, Chijoke, was curled up near the wall. Her little daughter, Nena, had kicked away the wrapper and was sleeping with her legs open like someone who had no worries. Amara smiled sadly. One day, she whispered, this house will change. You will not suffer like this forever. She stood up quietly, tied her old wrapper across her chest, and picked up her clay water pot. She liked going to the river very early, so that by the time other people came out, she would already be on her way back home. When she reached the river, she knelt and rinsed her pot, then filled it with clean water. She lifted it onto her head carefully, balancing it with one hand, and turned back towards home. But halfway through the return journey, she stopped. Something felt wrong. The air suddenly felt heavy, thick, as if carrying a secret. She couldn't explain the feeling, but her feet refused to keep walking. It was like someone was calling her, not with a voice, but with presence. She turned slowly, looking around the bushes, listening carefully. Then she heard it, a soft, weak cry. Not loud enough to scare anyone, but sharp enough to pierce her heart. At first, she thought it was a dog from the village hiding in the bush, or maybe a girl who ran away from home. But the cry was too soft, too pained, too different. Amara lowered her pot on the ground and moved closer, pushing aside tall grasses and bamboo branches. Her heart was beating so fast she could feel it in her ears. She wasn't a brave woman, but the cry didn't sound like something she could walk away from. When she stepped behind the thick bamboo cluster, she froze. There beneath the shadows was the most unbelievable sight she had ever seen in her life. A woman tied to a tree, but not just a woman. Her upper body was human beautiful in a strange, glowing way, with long black hair falling over her shoulders and eyes that reflected pain like a mirror. But below her waist, there were no legs. A long, shimmering fishtail lay coiled weakly on the ground, tied tightly with thick rope. Her belly was round, swollen, unmistakably pregnant. Her skin glistened with water, but she looked exhausted, bruised, and shivering. The woman raised one trembling hand towards Amara. Please, help me, she whispered, her voice cracking. Help me. They want to kill me and my baby. Amara stumbled backward, nearly falling. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She had heard stories of spirits, water people, river daughters, things mothers used to scare stubborn children with, but she never believed any of them. And now, here one was, breathing, crying, begging. Who did this to you? Amara finally forced out, her voice trembling. The mermaid swallowed painfully before speaking. Men. I came out at midnight, and they found me. They tied me here. They said they will return with someone who buys creatures like me. They want to exchange me and my unborn child for money. Her voice broke. I don't want to die. Please, I don't want my baby to die. Tears streamed down her bruised face. Amara felt something inside her twist. Fear, pity, confusion, everything mixed. She took a slow step closer. You, you are really a mermaid? The woman nodded weakly. My name is Nalu. I mean no harm. I only came out because the water was hot in my body. I wanted fresh air. But now, I can't escape. Please help me. Every instinct in Amara's body screamed run, but every part of her soul whispered help her. The ropes around Nalu's hands were so tight the skin had peeled. The bruises on her shoulders looked deep. Her tail was bleeding from the rough rope, and that big belly, that unborn child, that helplessness broke something in Amara. She stepped forward slowly. Stay still, she whispered shakily. I will try. Her fingers fought with the knot. The rope was thick, rough, twisted by strong hands. Amara looked around. Can you stand? No, Nalo whispered. Amara had never carried anything heavier than firewood, but she bent down, lifted Nalu's arm over her shoulder, and pulled her up slowly. Nalu's tail dragged behind, heavy and cold. Amara gritted her teeth and took a step, another step, another. The weight felt impossible, but leaving her there felt worse. With every few meters, they had to stop so Nalu could catch her breath. Each groan from her made Amara's heart break. By the time they reached Amara's compound, her back felt like it would split, but she didn't stop. Inside her hut, her children were still asleep. She laid Nalu on the mat gently. The mermaid called slightly, holding her stomach in pain. Amara fetched warm water, cleaned her bruises, wiped her face, massaged her swollen arms. Nalu cried quietly, not because of pain alone, but because she couldn't believe a human was helping her. Hours passed, then a day, then another. The men never found her. The village never knew, and slowly, Nalu regained strength. When she could finally speak clearly, she touched Amara's hand and whispered, My life and my child's life belong to you. One day, water will remember your kindness. On the seventh night, when the moon was brightest, Nalu told her it was time to go home. Amara walked with her to the riverbank, helped her into the water, and watched her glowing tail disappear beneath the surface. She didn't expect anything in return, but kindness has a long memory. And 7 days later, before the first rooster crowed, Amara opened her door to ease herself. Right in front of her door, on the ground, were 3 small boxes. They were shining faintly in the moonlight, as if the light itself was resting on them. Amara looked around quickly, expecting to see someone hiding in the shadows, but the compound was empty. The whole village was quiet. Only the distant sound of insects filled the air. Her heart started beating faster. She bent down and touched one of the boxes. It was cold and heavy. She lifted it slightly and almost dropped it because of the weight. Whatever was inside was not small. Carefully, she carried all 3 boxes into the house and closed the door, her mind full of questions. She did not open them immediately. She sat staring at them for a long time. Who brought them? Were they meant for her? Was it a trap? Should she call someone? If she called someone and they saw the boxes, if it was gold, the news would spread like fire and trouble would follow. She told herself she would wait. If by morning someone came asking, she would know what to do. Morning came. Nobody came. Afternoon passed. Still nothing. People moved around the village like any other day, greeting her normally, buying small things from her, and talking about ordinary matters. No one mentioned any missing boxes. Finally, after some days, when she was sure no one was looking for them, Amara knelt in front of the boxes and slowly opened the first one. The moment she lifted the lid, her breath left her body. Inside were gold bracelets, coral beads, and shiny silver coins, all arranged neatly. She opened the second and third boxes. They were full of the same kind of wealth. Amara covered her mouth with her hand, tears filling her eyes. Immediately, she remembered Nalu's words at the river. Your kindness has entered the water, and water always finds its way back. She knew in her heart, Who sent those boxes? From that day, Amara's life began to change slowly but surely. She did not behave like a foolish person. She was wise. She did not go around shouting, I found gold! I found gold! Instead, she sold some pieces quietly to traders from other towns. With that money, she first moved her children from the leaking mud house into a better place. Then, she started a business. She bought good clothes for Chijoke and Nena, made sure they ate well, and started going to school. She herself began to look fresher, calmer, and happier. People in the village noticed. Is this not the same Amara that was always struggling? They asked. How did she suddenly become comfortable like this? Some suspected she had joined a secret society. Some said she must have found money in the bush. Some said God had finally answered her prayers. But none of them knew what really happened. Whenever anyone came to her and asked directly, Amara, what is your secret? How did your life change like this? She would just smile gently and say, kindness always comes back. When you see someone in trouble and you can help them. You don't know who is watching and you don't know where your reward will come from. At night, when her children were sleeping peacefully in their new beds and she sat outside her house under the moon, she would quietly face the direction of the river and whisper, thank you, Nalu. Wherever you are with your baby, may you be safe. I didn't help you because of this, but I'm grateful. And that is how a poor widow who had nothing but a clay pot and two hungry children became the wealthiest woman in her village, simply because on one difficult morning, she chose mercy over fear and helped a pregnant mermaid who the world only saw as a way to make money.